Ladies and gentlemen, and honorable judge, we believe that in the status quo, in the most developed countries, pension and healthcare systems rely on intergenerational transfers. Declining fertility rates lead to a shrinking labor force, which in turn might cause problems in bearing the financial burden for providing for the elderly. In nearly all OECD countries, fertility rates have been declining or stagnating in recent decades. One likely reason is the so-called education baby gap. On average, college-educated women have fewer children than women without tertiary education. Alongside government, we attempt to address the problem of an aging society and the problem of problematic demographic structure. So how? First, we would like to build a social narrative that highly educated individuals' birth to children is a social virtue, as we are fostering a future generation with more equipped human capital. And we also like to clarify that this does not mean that people with relatively short education should not have babies. We will be encouraging all demographics to have more child. Second, the government will provide tangible support such as debt relief to those who are struggling with educational loans when they choose to have child. Lastly, if the family needs support on giving high quality education, the state will also help the children receive scholarships. Throughout this debate, we will prove to you the following. First, why this motion is justified in principle, and secondly, how the motion promotes long-term benefit and stability to the society. As that being said, I would like to move on to our team's first argument, which is that there is need of support to a particular demographic who are unable to have children. In the status quo, people with more education tend to have less child. There are several factors that contribute to this social trend, but side government would note that these people tend to be more burdened with financial difficulties. Why is this the case? The cost of higher education is significantly high. In the United States, the cost of a college degree often outweighs the average income of the family household. This is why young people with higher educations are burdened with financial debt even before they enter the job market. Also, for them to have child, this is not only financially burdening, but it also risks their hard-earned job opportunities as well. This is because mothers in particular will have physical difficulties to work and parent the baby at the same time. Finally, for these people, given their education loans, the cost of baby is also significant. So why is this important in this debate? The analysis we gave you clearly shows that a particular group of people struggle to have child, not because they don't want to, but because they cannot. We believe that this should be a clear reason for the government to support particular demographics. Moving on to our second argument is that we're going to explain you why we need to address demographic imbalance. We believe that lower birth rates among the educated could lead to increased social stratification. If children from highly educated families become scarce, the chances are only the highly educated wealthy will have babies. This could lead to the case where they might form a more isolated elite group, increasing social divides. By incentivizing highly educated individuals to have more children, the state can counteract this trend of declining birth rates in this demographic, ensuring a much more balanced societal growth. Therefore, we are proud to propose.
Josh, do you really think that it's fair that some children get an advantage just because their parents are smarter than others? Our side believes that our burden is to negate that highly educated individuals should have children. We will prove this by saying 5 arguments. We believe that strongly incentivize means to strongly encourage and potentially tell them to give birth to more children. This will lead to overpopulation, as we will elaborate later on in this debate. Going on to my first argument, encouraging economy to individuals have children will lead to overpopulation if consideration is not taking place. Furthermore, overpopulation will result in lack of resources and food for people around the world. It will worsen environmental issues and stop sustainable development. This is true because not only is it bad for the environment, it also worsens economy, as there will be a growth in poverty. Furthermore, lack of resources can lead to scarcity of education and healthcare for the economy. This will disrupt the quality of life for the future generations to live in. Encouraging high education people will encouraging highly educated people to have children can exacerbate the problem of overpopulation. The world's population is already reaching an sustainable level, and incentivizing certain groups to have more children can increase the strain on resources and lead to environmental degradation. Going on to my second argument, this policy could lead to discrimination and inequality. If the state incentivizes highly educated individuals to have children, it could reinforce the idea that some people are more valuable or important than others based on their education level. This could lead to discrimination and inequality in society, creating a divide between those who are incentivized to have children and those who are not. Additionally, this policy would exclude individuals who do not have access to higher education due to financial or other reasons. This could lead to social unrest and protests. If the state enforces a policy that is perceived as unfair or discriminatory, people are likely to protest against it. The government may have to spend resources on maintaining stability. Going on to my third argument, this policy could have unintended consequences for the economy. If the state incentivizes highly educated individuals to have children, it could lead to a shortage of skilled labor in workforce. The highly educated individuals who have children may choose to prioritize their family over work. Additionally, if their policy leads to a decrease in the birth rate amongst less educated individuals, they both could lead to a shortage of unskilled labor in the workforce. This could negatively impact the economy. Companies may struggle to find employees with the necessary skills, which could lead to a decrease in productivity and economic growth. Furthermore, if there is a shortage of unskilled labor, it could lead to an increase in the cost of labor, which could lead to inflation. Going to my fourth and last argument, the policy does not have a guarantee of success. This is true because having highly educated parents does not guarantee that their children will also be highly educated. There are many factors that contribute to a person's success, and education is just one of them. Therefore, incentivizing highly educated individuals to have children may not be an effective way of ensuring a highly educated workforce in the future. I would like to rebut the first speaker, as she has said that scholarships can be given to the children by the government. However, this just proves the point that the child is not working to get the things that they deserve. Therefore, it is not fair for other children who might have the same potential to get the same environment to live in. Therefore, in conclusion, with all these strong points that I have proposed, given, I am proud to oppose this motion.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable judge. Before we move on to the last argument as to why we strongly support and encourage this motion, I'd like to state a few rebuttals against the previous speaker. The previous speaker has stated that there is a concern of overpopulation if this motion is achieved. However, as our previous speaker has stated before, in the status quo, there are less babies and less birth labors. So we believe that we need more babies, and in order to achieve this, our house is claiming that this motion is the best way to solve the problem in the status quo and such. So now moving on to the next rebuttal. The previous speaker has stated that there can be low birth towards low quality of education individuals. However, our house is saying that because of various steps, because of education, these highly educated people cannot have babies even if they want to. As you have stated before, education costs a lot of price, and merely over the income of middle income families, as stated in our previous speaker has stated. We believe that this is only a mere chance to happen, so we believe that that claims false. Also, they stated that the children and the parents, there is no burden that they will have the same educational purposes. However, we believe that by having serious atmospheres on education and serious environments that the children are raised in, it will create a better atmosphere to excel and have more striving for excellence for these children, as their parents are also very educated and have various educational purposes that can teach them as well. Our house believes that then having various parents that drink all day or watching TV gambling, it is much more better for these highly educated individuals to have babies, as the atmosphere will be much more serious and will much more benefit the children in various ways.
So now moving on to the last argument as to why we strongly propose and support this motion. So moving on to our final constructive on the impact of this motion. Our house believes that positive externalities of education benefits overall society. We believe that it will raise productive human capital in our society. We have three levels of analysis to support this claim. Firstly, we believe that citizens no longer have to make a choice between education and family. We believe that this motion encourages those who gave up on education for babies to continue to strive for higher education. What we mean by this is that we are relieving various steps for these people who chose families and education and have a choice has to make a choice between education and family, and we're trying to solve this problem through this motion and our policies. So, secondly, we believe that educational environment in homes greatly affect the learning experience of the children. Even though children receive the same education in school, their academic performances are distinctive based on how they continue to carry on and share these learning experiences at home. When studying is natural at home, these children will accept striving for excellence and exploring curious fields to be a norm. In contrast, if the parents spend their leisure time drinking, watching TV, or even gambling, we believe that these children will naturally adapt those lifestyles like their parents as well. Moving on to our last constructive analysis. Although the government tries to provide basic education to the public, since it's the foundation for equal opportunity, our house also recognizes that such programs do not always produce expected outcome when children are not supported from private households. We believe that this motion will give various equal chances towards various children. As such, side government believes that when highly educated couples give birth to their children, they'll provide a better environment for children to pursue a higher knowledge. Therefore, we're proud to propose. Thank
We
you.
live in an almost utopian society where parents love and prioritize their child with all their heart. However, why would the government ruin this by making birth and love forced? Therefore, we are proud to oppose the motion. In my speech, I'll be giving a rebuttal of rebuilding and our team's final argument. Firstly, a rebuttal. The proposition team said parents would not be good role models. This is not true because as we have said in our debate, without workforce, many things will not be able to take place. Therefore, there's always a need for lower education people to take place. This rebuts their argument saying that parents who are not a great role model. Moving on to our rebuilding. The team, our first speaker said that it will cause overpopulation. The team tried to rebut this by saying it will not because only highly educated parents will be motivated to give birth. However, this is not enough because they did not prove why others would not want to have babies. Even if only highly educated people gave birth, this does not help our society this does not help any better because wouldn't that just cause a decline in our population? Therefore, our argument still stands. Moving on to our team's final argument. Children means commitment and responsibility. Even if the government provides resources to support smart people to have babies, wealth cannot help you raise a child because you have to be prepared emotionally, not just intellectually and physically. This is true because people, especially women, should not be forced into having a child. It will completely disrupt their lives in many ways, which is not good for either of our stakeholders, the child nor the parents. Firstly, giving birth to a child is especially challenging for the mother. Not only does she have to go through an imaginal pain, she has to potentially give up her job to take care of the child who may not even be smart. This is true because in most families, there is a stereotype that the female is the one who is forced to stay at home and handle the baby, which is an exhausting, hard job, especially for people who are unprepared and forced to have the baby. For example, a famous tennis player named Naomi Osaka had a baby. Unfortunately, it required too much time she did not have, and it was very tiring, resulting in her depression and disrupting her career for a whole year. Secondly, there would be no love for the child. Parents will feel obliged to give birth, but not because they actually want the baby. We think a parent needs to be prepared and excited to have a baby. That is a more important quality than being wealthy and smart, because they will actually care and show support. However, this new policy will make children unloved and think of themselves as burdens, as the parents may not really love them or complain about their birth decision that was really made by the government. Is this how you want our future generations to feel unwelcome and isolated, even if the parent is smart and good to their children. Your side did not prove scientifically in any way why the child would definitely be smart, as our first speaker mentioned. Children are only smart if the parent is a good parent and able and to efficiently communicate and educate the child. Also, if we set the stereotype that some children were born because they're smarter than others, it is not only false and discriminative, but also will cause unnecessary conflicts or potential self-hate and depression. Not only that, if a parent is intellectually proven to be smart, and they probably have a good high-income job. On the other hand, the families with lower intellectual abilities will most likely have a lower salary job. If both families have children, isn't it much more sensible to offer low-paid welfare benefits and educational resources, not just bribe people to have babies with money? Instead, we should completely allow the freedom of choice for parents to have babies. If we do, also, following the motion, it will significantly and very negatively impact us. Our society will have less people doing what they are better at, working and helping our community thrive. Also, as children will feel self-hate, unloved, and others will be arrogant and mean. What is our future? Is it a place where all children are loved greatly by willing parents, or a place where parents only have babies and trying to satisfy the government? In conclusion, we must not allow the state to strongly incentive highly educated people to have children, as there's no such thing as forced love.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable judge. Before we move on to our team's two clashes, we'll start with the two rebuttals for the previous speaker. First, the first speaker of the opposition side did not rebut to our first and second argument, which was sorry. There is a need to support a particular demographic who are unable to have children, and second, we need to address demographic imbalance. And moving on to our second rebuttal, they said that the woman should not be forced to have babies. Yet we disagree with this idea, because we never forced these women to have babies. Yet, but rather we gave the chance towards people who have it. And by making a choice between the education and family, this would be not forcing the woman to lay a baby. And also we disagree with this idea, because we instead would give a strong incentive, and by supporting them, and for example, we'll give their debt relief. And also we said that it is parents' choice to lay the baby or not, even if the government supports them to lay babies. And hence the opposition's argument completely false. And let's move on to our team's two clashes. Our first clash would be, first, which world would be better for the society? And second would be what would be better for the children's viewpoints. Let's move on to our first clash, which is which world would be better for the society. Our team has said that children can have a better lifestyle, and they can raise their children as a productive human capital. And their team has said that it is the person's freedom of choice to lay a baby or not. And we think we won this clash because we totally agree with that women should have the freedom of choice to lay babies or not. And we only said that we are going to support and give more incentive to these smart people by having babies. And we also think that we won this clash because these people. Yes.
Isn't like providing them more resources, bribing them to have babies, and therefore like manipulating and basically forcing them to give birth?
We think that this is not forcing, because the government is just supporting the idea to lay the babies, and they're giving incentive, and they're not forcing them with discrimination or other punishments. And I'll move on to my clashes. And the learning experience will develop even if the children get the same education at school.
And this is because their academic performances will be distinctive based on their lifestyle at home. And moving on to our team second clash, which is what world would be better for the children's viewpoint. The government team has said that there will be discrimination towards the children and the parents, and we stated that children can have a better atmosphere if this motion follows. And we think we won this clash because if the atmosphere is better for the children and the parents give a better lifestyle choices for the children, then they would, even if they are not smart and when they're bored, they can get influenced by these good lifestyle. And even if the government doesn't force good lifestyle and just give enough good education, then they could get influenced in this lifestyle. And the opposition lost this clash because discrimination is happening in the status quo too, and this is because the people divide this into in the status quo. And from these reasons, we're proud to propose.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I'll first go to rebuttal and then go to clash. So firstly, my rebuttal. The prop first speaker said that colleges are very expensive and students struggle before they leave the university. But colleges like Columbia University, which is an Ivy League school, provide the money to their students, and 99% of all students with financial needs have their needs fulfilled. And this is one of the best schools in America. So actually, your point is not true. And next, you said that there's a good population control with a group of the very elite. But this point actually contradicts itself because the group of very elite is actually a little, so there's not much change. So because your point said a group of very elite, so it did not control the population. Okay, now moving on to the prop second speaker. The prop second speaker said that it benefits society and it encourage children to go to learn. But have you thought that the children who gave a school are mostly poor kids who can't afford school? So this point is false. If you're a poor kid and you want to go to school, go to college, and you see some really rich and smart kid go to school, does it change whether you can go to school or not? No, because your problem is financial need, not the motivation to go to school. Oh, no, thank you. So, next you said that education at home is just as important and there's better habits. But firstly, I have 2 points to rebut this. Firstly, schools can teach them habits. And although later you said schools are not enough, I'll first rebut this. So, schools can teach them habits that the parents cannot teach them. For example, like no smoking and such things. So actually, schools are enough to teach them these habits that they need for their later life. And also, my second rebuttal to this point is that children can learn a lesson from their parents. So, you said that they will follow their parents, but have you thought that actually they can learn a lesson from their parents? For example, if their parents smoke, like you said, if they smoke, then they can actually, if the parents get some sort of disease on smoking, their children can actually learn. The children can learn that you should not smoke because you get cancer or something. Okay, now moving on to the third point. So you said that schools are not enough and parents need to help them. There's a bad environment, or if like the children there's a bad environment from the parents who like are not like highly educated. But actually not many parents do not care for their children now. Many parents want their children to excel also. Not only the parents who are very highly educated, also like the middle class parents, they want their children to like excel. They want their children to improve. So actually your point is not correct. The bad environment is not correct. Like I rebutted again and again. Okay. Our side first speaker said that there's overpopulation, and you said there's not enough young people. But your first speaker said that there's a group of very light, and I said that the very light is only a little, and it's only a little amount of people, and so here it will so here it will, even if now there's not enough young people, even if the light come in, and even if this policy is fulfilled, there won't be much a change. Um, and our first speaker also said that children parents might not have the same smartest, and the second speaker replied that the atmosphere around a child would be good for learning.
Time is up.
Okay. So Alan, now please vote for the concept. Thank you.
Judge, we have clearly won this debate because of 5 main reasons that I will be expanding on. First, we have fulfilled our burden to negate that highly educated people should be encouraged and manipulated and bribed by the government to give birth to children. We did this by giving specific examples, showing the rights parents deserve, and also painting detailed pictures in our argument. For instance, our first speaker clearly and accurately characterized our stakeholders and such, and also told you what our status quo looks like presently. Secondly, our third speaker was able to give substantiated rebuttals to all of the affirmative side's arguments in her speech. She was able to dismantle all their cases and left them no way to respond. Thirdly, we considered grave long-term and short-term impacts. For long-term impacts, we talked about population and the future generations of our society all affected by a single decision. For short-term impacts, we told you about the pain and it will cause unprepared parents to have to commit and be responsible for a vulnerable baby. Fourthly, the opposing side did not prove their arguments to be true. They were giving us a constant message that highly educated people would definitely create smart children, and those children will automatically help us thrive. However, they did not prove this claim with any sort of scientific evidence or any further proof. Instead, they merely made an assumption. Finally, our proposal is risk and stake-free. We are completely negating emotions, which means freedom of choice for all parents. Not a single person can be harmed because of this. On the other hand, the affirmative side's proposal does not only risk a decline in population and could cause discrimination between families or self-hate, and children could feel self-hate. For instance, as we mentioned in our speeches, a child could be constantly receiving the message that they are smart because they come from an intelligent family, which will make them lazy and arrogant or even pressured. On the other hand, another child would feel useless and experience depression or things like self-hate. In summary, we have easily won this debate because of our specific, clear arguments, our reasonable proposals, and that because we dismantled every single one of the proposition side's arguments. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Speaker, and honorable adjudicators, I believe that our team, the government team, have successfully won this debate today because we have successfully proved our burden of proof continuously throughout this debate. Our burden of proof in this debate today was to prove to you that the motion is justified in the principle, and second, how the motion promotes a long-term benefit and stability to the society and community. While the opposition's burden of proof was to prove to you how and why the motion is principally unjustified and that it negatively impacts our socioeconomic structure in many various ways. Our team have told you and successfully proved our burden of proof by the following 2 reasons. First, we have claimed that there is a need to support a particular demographic who are unable to have children. We have explained our case by the resulting two constructives. We have asked the question, why is this the case? And we have answered to this important question by telling you that the cost of higher education is significantly and exceedingly high. We have also proved to you that higher education will be burdened with financial debt before they enter the job market, and told you that since a majority's case is that they cannot have children even if they want to, so we'll be providing our policy so that people will be encouraged to have children, solving the problem in the status quo. This also proves our burden of proof because this context will be beneficial to our society and community if we see in the long term. However, in contrast, the opposition teams claim all false because they have stated that women should not be forced to have a child. However, we claim that we won't be forcing people. We have only told you that we would only be encouraging people by releasing their debt, and this claim also doesn't prove their burden of proof because this is not impacting and affecting the society negatively in any ways. And secondly, they have claimed to us that there will be discrimination if we believe and achieve this motion. However, this does not relate to their burden of proof, which is to prove to you how negative will be in the future. And this claim is also not exclusive because discrimination can be occurring anywhere in the status quo. Also, our team have engaged to this debate we believe that we have engaged to this debate better than the opposing team because while we have accepted their point of informations, the opposing team have declined. Therefore, in conclusion, we believe that our team have clearly won this debate here today. Thank you.